All right. Okay. So here's the thing. If I know you're a vegetarian, vegan, well, whatever, I know you don't eat meat. That's the point. I'm not going to offer you a cheeseburger because I know you don't like that. I know you're repulsed by it. If you don't like pop music and you don't like punk music, then you're probably not going to like pop punk. So before you hate on this review or hate on the band, come on. You know what you like and you don't like. This may not be for you, but you never know. This could just be the band that gets you into pop punk. Welcome, my fellow wannabes. Welcome to my channel. I'm Gabriel Fast, and I am the Wannabe Critic, or I claim to be the Wannabe Critic. We got the red LEDs going, which means that this is a reckless review. Today, we are going to be reviewing Go for Gold's new EP, Color Me. Now, Apple Music has this noted as a pop-punk release, and after listening to it, I could definitely say that's probably the case. Reckless actually has me doing my homework in some ways, because I've never actually heard of Go for Gold until now, and I thought that maybe they were based out of the UK. But they're not. They're from Arkansas, which is crazy, because that's where we used to live in Arkansas, so there you go. Pretty nuts. Color Me is a 6-song EP from the band Go for Gold, as I said before, and they have one other album. And whenever I say that, Reckless has me doing my homework, I had to go back and listen to this first record. They didn't tell me to, I wanted to. That way I could kind of get a clearer view of what this band really is and kind of what music they've made in the past. That way I could kind of have, know what I'm getting into whenever I really try and dig into this EP. And I listened to this once, went back and listened to their first record a few times, and then came back to this and listened to this a few times. And I have to say, the jump in quality, production-wise and musicianship, the musicality in general, is a night and day difference. The first record is very good. I think it's a solid punk album that you can, spin multiple times in a day, and it's like, it's a kind of reminds me of Joyce Manor's record, Cody. I had that on the background. I probably listened to that record 1,000 times the year it came out, and this is kind of putting out a similar vibe for me. I feel like I could put this on and have it on in the background and be enjoying it and never get sick of it. And I think a big reason why that may be the case is because this EP is pretty diverse with its 6 songs, and that was one thing that kind of surprised me. With each passing song, I'm kind of like, okay, this one has a different vibe to it, this one has a different vibe to it, while still kind of staying in the realm of pop punk. You would think that they would probably try and keep things pretty consistent and pretty straightforward, but they actually take some risks. Perfect example is the 4th song on the EP, which is Tone. Now, I was pretty surprised whenever this kind of, weird groove comes in. I'm like bobbing my head while I'm doing the dishes. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the song, like the last 30 to 45 seconds, it like opens up into this glorious breakdown of sorts. Not a breakdown, that's not the right thing, but it just completely changes tempo and changes the overall vibe of the song while kind of weaving in this riff I've been hearing, or this, groove that I've been hearing the whole time, even though the song has changed at this point. And I just thought that was really awesome. I thought that was a pretty dope move to do something like that on an EP like this. I think inherently, pop punk has been around for a long time. If you go back to the earlier pop punk bands that kind of innovated the genre in a lot of ways, pop punk really hasn't had a stint in the meta or mainstream, so to speak, for quite some time. And that's unfortunate because there's a special place for it in my heart. And this definitely catered to that. I feel like this band has a pretty firm idea and pretty clear idea of what it means to be young, and they've definitely imprinted it on this EP and encapsulated that feeling of all the things that the coming of age story in a lot of ways is on this record. And I think that speaks volumes for what you're going to be getting into, and maybe why you may not vibe with it, because you've probably matured or pushed past that point, hard times in your life, to where you may not be able to relate to this music as much, whereas someone who doesn't know what they're doing might really relate to this a lot more than somebody who might have it all figured out, so to speak. in the end, I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about this. I think it's a huge step up from their last release, and I think doing 6 songs, really high quality, and really trying to put it out there to as many people as possible was the right move to try and get people interested, you know, in this band, because they're gonna be on my radar. I hope they release a record soon so I can review it. It can be difficult to innovate this style of music, and I feel like the only thing where this is really a nitpick, but I feel like really the only area that this band might could improve is maybe trying to bring a different style of vocality to the overall sound, because whenever you hear a song that's pop punk genre, you're like, oh, that's a pop punk song, because the vocals are some of the most memorable things. I wasn't paying attention to the vocals as much, just because it did kind of fall into that thing of, well, obviously this guy's a good singer, but I've heard this before. I want to hear something, and I want to hear a style of vocal range that I haven't heard before. And that's really the only thing I'm going to knock it for, as far as something negative to say, because do I think this EP is perfect or even near perfect? No, I don't. Do I think it's really, really good? Yes, I do. I do think it's really, really good and worth your time and worth your money, even. If they ever release a vinyl of this, I will be buying it because I do think it's worth it. So as far as the score goes, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. I think it's definitely worth your time. I feel like that's pretty high praise from a Wannabe, so there you go. Really quick, before I go, I wanted to give a quick shout out to a friend of mine who has been watching for a while, and he sent me this in the mail. It was pretty cool. I have fan art, and I just wanted to share that with you guys and give him a shout out. I'm not going to say his name, just out of respect of privacy, but I really appreciate this, man. I'm going to definitely get this framed and hang it up. He's a younger viewer, so that's why I like to keep it PG a lot of the time anyway. So if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, you can wait to the end of the video. There'll be some videos recommended for you, so to speak. And, I'm really happy to be teaming up with Reckless. This is really, really cool. So let me know what you thought of the video in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your take on what you've heard of this band, if you've ever heard of them. I'd like to talk about, this with more people. I recommend more bands like this, or give me some more recommendations, some things that you might want to hear me review. I'd love to talk. I can talk in ad nauseum about anything, so there you go. So thank you very much for your time, you guys. Thank you for all the support, and a lot of you have been reaching out to me and saying, hey, this is cool, and yeah, I think it's cool too. It's a really cool opportunity, to be teaming up with someone who's as hungry as I am in a lot of ways to try and do something cool. So there you go. And also thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot. Dude, I'm sorry. Just so you know, I know you're editing this right now. I'm I have so much in my brain going on. Just so you know. But anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up now. And thank you for preparing yourselves for a plethora of hot takes and potentially unpopular opinions. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the Wannabe Critic.